of the great rabbis of yesteryear. We're on the 5th of Kislev, Hey Kislev, naturally, and it marks the Hilula of a really great Iraqi rabbi. His name was Rabbi Raphael Yaakov Hakek, Zecher Tzadik Libracha. Now, he came from great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Rabbi Yaakov, and his mother's name was Rabbanit Chaviva. And it's interesting, he would get married later on to his wife, Rabbanit Victoria, and I think they would have sons and daughters. And it's interesting, the great family in himself, he would actually go and move to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem, Jerusalem being one of the 4 holy cities of Israel, along with Tiberias, Tzfat, and Hebron, respectively. And he would actually dwell near the famous yeshivat Porat Yosef. Let's say Porat Yosef was a bastion, or still is, the bastion of yeshivot for the Sephardi communities of itself, and created many great rabbis and had many great rabbis educating in this great yeshiva in of itself. So he was very much over there and very much part of the famous yeshivat of Porat Yosef over there. It's actually interesting. I believe in his the place where he was actually dwelling in of itself, in his house, he had like a special room in of itself where I believe his parents would actually be able to actually visit, to actually stay there and to live inside that vicinity. It's actually interesting. He would also, I believe, found various different organizations, especially famously, he would found the Agudat Oseh Chesed. I think he very much primarily worked within regards, especially also to Gimlut Chasadim in that sphere, or in of itself, as what is being part of the very great yeshivot of yesteryear, which has to be pointed out. So this Chesed association, being one of the founders, was very prominent, very excellent work in of itself. Then I think come what the year 1970, he would publish a phenomenal Torah work in of itself. Now, this great book was printed, and it was called the Likuté Raphael. Very great book in of itself. It was, let's just say, just from start to finish, it was a phenomenal Torah work. I think he brings about inside this colossal work various different parables from the Torah and stories, concentrating on the 5 books of Moses, naturally, and the various different haftarahs also from each parsha. Naturally, on Shabbat, we would read a portion of the haftarah after the Aliyat Maftir each single week. I believe the book was published in various different places, if I'm not mistaken, especially. I think it came out, I think, in the area of B'Mhudurat Braille, if I'm not mistaken. He passed away, I believe, on Motzei Shabbat on the 5th of Kislev in the English year 1976. So we're talking about 48 years ago. The great rabbi passed away, and we can very much see that this Torah colossal work in of itself really did encompass the 5 books of Moses, and was one of the great books of that specific era, which I recommend everyone to learn and to actually study in of itself. So it's very interesting. I think the book was published, if I'm not mistaken, in the area of Braille, if I'm not mistaken. So it was very phenomenal work. And friends, we've already covered in this series probably about nearly 70 or 80 great rabbis that happen to actually come from the famous place of Baghdad, from Iraq, in of itself. Very great Torah community it had in itself. And many of the great rabbanim would say the highest praise within regards to Rabbi Raphael Yaakov Hakek. He was really one of the great rabbis of his time period. And I would recommend everyone to light candles in his memory. We are a community here. We're learning and getting inspiration from many of the great rabbis of yesteryear. We've already covered more than 500 rabbis inside this series. Many of them happen to be Iraqi. Many of them happen to become great rabbanim in Israel in itself. If you happen to be related to it, especially this great rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Hakek, or any of the other great rabbis we've actually related over within regards to this series, please send me an email. I would love to hear more about the great Chachamim of yesteryear. We are a community here. Friends, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share the videos, and just wishing you all blessings here from Israel. Take care and be well, everyone.